everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is Friday, October 11th. So for me that means it's payday. So on Fridays, as those of you who have been watching me for a while know, that I do my cash envelope stuffing, I do my budgeting, and I do my weekly paychecks, or weekly check-ins. I do that all on Fridays, just because it's the day I get paid, so for me it's easier to budget on a weekly basis, and doing so on the day that I have my income come in. So, I have everything laid out here. This is my paycheck from last week. So this is where we were doing the second paycheck of October. I have it broken down into my different categories of debt, bills, expenses, sinking funds, and income. And I have something very exciting today. I am adding 3 new categories of sinking funds to my budget. So you guys will have to stay tuned to that portion of it to see what sinking funds I added. And I still have to do the envelopes for those. I'm going to reuse some that I've had from previous categories. So I'll show you guys how I do that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first category that I'm going to start with my budgeting out of my paycheck is the debt category. Unfortunately, for me, this is the one that has the most items in it, so that's depressing, but that's what we're working on. That's what I have a budget for, and that I'm working on my debt snowball for, is to eliminate these debts. So the first one that we're starting with is Capital One, and these are weekly amounts that I am writing out. So $42.50 is what I take out of my paychecks every single week to put towards Capital One, which I then make the minimum payment when it comes due throughout the month. So just laying that out there, that is not a monthly amount or anything. This is a weekly amount. Next is going to be PayPal. And PayPal gets $9.75. Next is OneMain. And that one gets $76.25. Next is Apple, and that is $6.75. Then we have Kohl's, excuse me, which is also $6.75. And then we end with the largest one, which is my car payment, which is $153 every week. So we will go ahead and get these totaled up here. So we have $42.50, $9.75, $76.25, $6.75, $6.75, and $153. So $295 in debt is what we have here. So $295. Okay, the next category that we're going to move on to is bills. And the first one I'm going to start with is Hulu. That's where we get our TV from. That's the only kind of TV service we have is Hulu. And we do Hulu Live. So the weekly amount for that is $12.25. Next is Verizon, which is obviously cell phones. And that one is $25.50. So it has been like $5 a week for the last month or so, but that's because we had changed plans, and so it was kind of, I don't know, it was off for about a month. So now it's back to normal, and it's actually cheaper than what it was before, and we have unlimited data, so now it's $25.50 a month, or a week. Next is my car insurance. And this one gets $20 every week. Next is my kids' school account, which is for their lunches, is $17.50 a week. And then we end the bills with my daughter's tumbling, which is $31.25 a week. So we will go ahead and total these ones up. So $106.50 is our bills total. Next, we're moving on to expenses. So my first expense is rent, $50 a week, so $200 a month. And yes, that is inexpensive. I live in the Midwest, but I actually live in a house that is owned by my family, so that's why my rent is so expensive. So I've had a few people comment on that. So that is the reason for the rent. Gas, I do $40 a week. Groceries, I do $80. And the groceries, $80 is for me and my 3 kids. And then I also meal plan, which I do a meal planning video I post it every Monday. I do it every Sunday. Just of me looking at the ads and figuring out what we're going to have for supper and breakfast and lunch for the upcoming week, and then also I lay out my grocery list. So I started filming that and sharing that with you guys, as I've had a lot of people ask about meal planning. So that is what I use my $80 in groceries for. And then the next one is spending. So I have been doing $60 a week in spending, but because I added a few more categories of sinking funds, and I don't normally spend all of the $60 every week that I give myself for spending, I'm going to lower that down to $40. And that will kind of engross the added funds that I have for the sinking funds that I added, but also it just doesn't make sense to keep giving myself $60 when I'm really not utilizing it, and it can go to something else. So that's what we're going to do there. So those are the 4 expense categories that I have. And we'll get these added. Okay, I don't like how I put zeros in the cents on those ones and not on these ones, so I'll have to fix that. It all has to be the same. So we have 50 plus 40 plus 80 plus 40, so $210 in expenses. So now these sections here all go through, oh, I guess you can't see that. These sections here all go through online banking. So these ones, I keep some of them in my main checking account. I transfer some of them out to my Capital One 360 account. And then my expenses and my sinking funds, I pull out in cash every week. So that's how I do that. Okay, next to the exciting one, which is sinking funds. So I'm going to start with the sinking funds that I've had. So car maintenance is first, and car maintenance gets $10 every week. Next is kids, and kids gets $20 every week. Followed by Christmas. I have thought of about beefing up my Christmas sinking fund, or what I add into it for the next 8 weeks or so. Which I still might do, but this week I'm going to still keep it at 20. Just because Christmas is coming up, and I did have like a 2 or 3 month period when I was not putting anything in my Christmas fund, or my Christmas envelope, and I kind of started it later in the year, so I don't have as much as I would like in it, so I might bump this up a little bit, but right now I'm going to leave it as 20. So then the 3 new categories that I have for my sinking funds are medical. So medical, I don't go to the doctor a ton, and aside from the little mishap that my son had that took or put him in the hospital for a week, aside from that, they don't really go to the hospital or to the doctor very much either. I've been extremely lucky, and I don't seem to get sick very often, and my kids don't seem to get sick very often either. So aside from the, normal checkups, which through my insurance through work, my health insurance, that's a preventative care appointment, and that's fully covered by my insurance company, no copay or anything. So that's really nice. So like dentist and all of that stuff, we are really good about keeping up with our appointments and our preventative care. That way it doesn't turn into something down the road where we now have to have a root canal or a cavity filled or have some illness because we didn't take care of our normal checkups and stuff like that. So I don't have a lot of medical expenses, but I did want to start just a small sinking fund for it, for like prescriptions, or it is coming into winter season, which is cold and flu season. So even just, over-the-counter medicine and whatnot, like Tylenol and stuff like that, it can be used for that as well. So that's what the medical category is going to be for. Next is going to be household. And so this one is kind of a pretty wide variety of a sinking fund. I can use it for like cleaning products or laundry, detergent, anything household related. I will use this sinking fund, and I'm gonna do that one for $15 a week. And then the last one, I've actually had this sinking fund before, and it's gifts. So obviously I do have my Christmas sinking fund, but I wanted to add a gifts sinking fund for anything outside of Christmas. So birthdays, special holidays like Easter, Valentine's Day, anniversaries, parents' anniversaries and whatnot. So I just wanted to add another gifts category just because after Christmas is over, I would assume my entire Christmas sinking fund will be depleted. And I do have, some birthdays at the beginning of the year, so that way I'm not completely have nothing to spend on gifts. So I did want to do that, and I'm just going to do $10 a week for the gifts sinking fund. So those are the 3 new sinking funds as well as the ones that I have had. So we will go ahead and total these up. So we have 10 plus 20 plus 20 plus 5 plus 15 plus 10. So $80 in sinking funds. So this one will also all be taken out in cash. Okay, now this week for income, my full-time job, I actually got paid less than I normally do, and that is because, as most of you know, my son was in the hospital for a week, so I took that whole week off of work, and when I got paid for that last week, I actually only ended up getting like $371 opposed to the $537, and that was because I didn't have enough PTO to be able to use that whole time. So yeah, $371 last week. So I did work a full week last week, which is what I'm getting paid for today. However, there was one day last Friday that I had to take off again because my son had two follow-up doctor's appointments in the same town that children's hospital is in, which is 3 hours away from where we live, just to check his blood levels and make sure everything was going back down to normal, as well as to check out his knee from the staph infection that he had. So because of that, I worked 2 hours. So I had 6 hours unpaid again, which I used the FMLA for, but you still don't get paid for it. So because of that, I did have 6 hours less on my pay than I normally do. So this week for my full-time job, I ended up getting $454 opposed to the $537 that I normally get. And then for my part-time job, just doing a little math on the side here, I got $208. Alright, so let's add these two incomes up. So we're at $662. Now that might not even cover all of the bills I have here. It might be really close. But I do have some left over from last week and some rollover that I was using towards a debt snowball. So I do have myself covered if this does not cover my bills, just because it is almost a whole day's less pay than I would normally have on a weekly basis. So we will do bills and income, and then what we're going to put to our debt snowball for the month of October. And with my debt snowball, I think I've said this before, but every week that I have money left over to put towards debt snowball, I just set it aside, and I do that every week, and then I make one lump sum payment at the end of the month towards whatever debt I'm trying to pay off. That way I'm not making 4+ payments on that particular bill every single month. It just makes sense to me. As long as I don't spend it in the meantime, which I have a pretty good habit of not doing, so that's good. Okay, well, I guess I can zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. So we're going to take this total here, $295 plus $106.50 plus $210 plus $80. Yeah, so it is over about $30 or so. So the bill's total is $691.50, and our income was $662. So this week we have nothing going to debt snowball. And I'm actually going to do so we are minus $29.50. But like I said, that money will come from my account that I have kind of a cushion for, as well as the rest of my debt snowball. So it will just take that money out of there. So it's not a big deal. Now, if I didn't have that, then it would be a big deal. So if that were the case, I would then not be funding some of these, or maybe even all of the sinking funds. So that is if you are ever in that situation where your income is not equivalent to or greater than your bills total, then you need to either back up on your sinking funds, because you shouldn't be having sinking funds if you don't even have enough income to cover your normal bills, or find ways to earn extra income or pick up another shift at work. If you have a cushion in your account, or you have extra snowball money that you were going to use towards debt, use that. But definitely if every week you're finding that your income is not covering your bills, then you need to take out your sinking funds, don't fund them for a while, and then get caught back up on your bills. Pay down some debt so you can free up a little bit of money that way too. So there are some different options, but for me, it's not a big deal because I do have that extra money in my account. So that is it for the budgeting portion of it. I'm going to lay out my cash and get my envelopes, and we will get our envelope stuff for the week. Alright, I have everything set up here, and I did quick before I started stuffing these. I wanted to show you guys. So these right here are the 3 envelopes that I'm going to use for my new medical, household, and gifts sinking funds, and I just want to show you guys how easy this was. So these are old envelopes that I was using, so as you can see, this one had a tracker on it, and all I I am doing is taking a wet wipe and I am just wiping this off, and you can also do this on the front of the envelope with the label, which I have already done with the labels. I've wiped them off. So now this envelope I can reuse for a different category, which is exactly what I am going to do. So get my wet erase pen out here. So this white and gold one here is going to be my medical, and I will make new envelopes that match the other ones with the personalized labels and the trackers on the back, but this is what I'm going to use for now. So this one is going to be medical. This one here is going to be household. And this one is going to be gifts. So that is how easy it is to clean these envelopes off and reuse them, or, you know, make up your trackers on the back. So super easy. Okay, get these put back into order here. And there we go. Oh, that drives me crazy when they do that. Okay. So we're going to start with rent. So rent is going to get $50. So last week I added $50 in, so there is just the $50 in here. So we're going to add another $50 to that one. And this envelope will now be at $100. So today is the 11th. We're adding in $50. So we're now at $100. So rent is done. Next we have gas, groceries, and spending, which for these three I do not use trackers on the back. I normally just put the receipts in the envelopes when I use the money. And now I have not filled up on gas yet this week, so I still have the $40 from last week. And then gas gets another $40. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this money here and put it to the side and use it towards my debt snowball, which you'll see that in a second. And I'm just going to put another $40 in here for this week. Because there's no point in me having $80 in this envelope when I'm only going to fill up once a week. So we'll just put that extra money to my debt snowball, and this one will have the right amount, which is the $40 for the upcoming week. Next is groceries, and groceries has 0 in it, and it gets 80. So we're going to do 50, 60, 70, and 80. So we'll put that in there. I always go grocery shopping on Mondays, so I will do my meal planning on Sunday, figure out what I need from the grocery store, and then I will use this on Monday when I go to the grocery store. Okay, next I have spending. And like I said before, as to why I was dropping spending down to 40 from 60 is I still have 20, 40, 41, 42, 43, $44 in here. So I'm going to take all of this and set it off to the side again with that gas money to go towards my debt snowball. So I'm going to put another $40 in here. And there's a receipt in there. So that'll go in there for the upcoming week. So spending is filled. So next we have our sinking funds. So the first one is car maintenance. Last week car maintenance had 50. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And we're going to add another 10. So this envelope will now be at 60. Oops, wrong 10. So we have 10, 11, we're adding 10. Car maintenance now has $60. Next is kids. So last week this one had 100. So we have 20, 40, 60, 81. We're going to add another 20, which puts us at 120 for kids. And the kids stuffing envelope, I use it for, like, say my kids want to do an extracurricular activity or something and there's a sign-up fee, or they need a new pair of shoes, or anything like that. If they go on a field trip and they want to have some spending money to take with them. Anything kind of like that. So that is what that one's for. That one is done. Next is Christmas. So last week Christmas had 320. So we have 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 83, 320, 340. Hold on. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 83, 320. Okay, I thought I counted to 340. So it has 320. We're adding 20, which is going to put us at 340 for Christmas. And these envelopes really do hold quite a bit of money in there. So I mean, I have over 15 $20 bills in there. So alright, so Christmas, so it's the 11th, we're adding in 20, so that puts our Christmas total to 340. So like I said, I am thinking about bumping this one up higher, maybe even $30 to $40 to $50 a week for the next 8 weeks or so. That way I have enough money in there by the time like Black Friday comes, as that's when all the really good sales are. So I might start doing that next week. We will see. Okay, the next 3 are the new ones. So first we have medical, and medical is going to get $5. So we will put that in there. And like I said, I'm going to make new envelopes that match the ones that I already have with the personalized labels, and then I'll make new trackers to go with them. So I'm just not going to track anything now, but we know it has $5. Next is household, and household is, okay, I'm missing a 5. Now that I think about it, I don't remember requesting another 5 at the bank. Hold on a second, let me look here. Okay, I found it. It was stuck inside the cash envelope. Okay, so household is going to get 15. So we'll get that put in there. So household is funded. And then the last sinking fund is gifts, which is going to get the 10. So we will put that in there. Okay, so all of my envelopes are fully stuffed, and now what I'm going to do is, like I said, I have this extra money that came from my gas envelope and my spending envelope that I didn't use. So I used to just roll it over and then I would keep it in those envelopes and use them whenever, but about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe it was probably 4 weeks ago, I started taking whatever was left in the envelopes, even if it was just $1, out, putting it to the side, and using it towards my extra debt snowball payment. So this week we have an extra 20, 40, 60, 80, 81, 82, 83, $84 to go towards my extra debt snowball payment for the month. So last month, for the month of September, it was $122 that I put extra just from leftover money in the gas, the spending, and the groceries envelopes. So just this week, I'm going to have $84. So I put that in there, and I do this every time I stuff my envelopes. And then at the end of the month, I take this money out, I subtract it off the tracker, I add it to whatever other debt snowball money I have, and then I just make that one big lump sum payment. So I am going to go ahead and write here on the 11th that we are adding in $84. So I think that's a pretty good thing to be able to do, rather than just rolling the money over and spending it on something that I probably don't need, but that I just want. So I'm going to take my envelopes. all of my sinking funds and my rent and the debt snowball, those all stay in my office, and then the spending, the groceries, and the gas I put in my billfold, and those come with me, and then I just use these ones when I need to. So I think that is everything for the cash envelope portion of my Friday. So now I will move on and do my weekly check-in, so you guys can check that video out. But if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!